Let's start out with a boom. While we're lounging around waiting for our train to come in, let's pick up our newspaper and read the San Diego Sun. From San Diego, California, dated Saturday evening, March 21st, 1896. Let's see what happened on this day in history. We'll start with what came over the telegraph wires. The Choctaw Indians have endorsed McKinley for president. It is reported the Southern Pacific is preparing to use oil on its engines. Judge Clark of Los Angeles has decided that a contract made by telephone is good. The joke on her. The other day, in a streetcar, a man was crowded along in his seat by the very fashionably dressed young woman who pushed herself in next to him. Her very full dress skirt further inconvenienced him, for she was so anxious to preserve it from wrinkling while sitting that she swung its folds carelessly over the lap of this man next to her. This person had his own ideas of proper retaliation. He deliberately adjusted his large, clumsily shod feet so that they appeared to emerge from beneath the skirt. It was not long before they were noticed by someone opposite. The effect of the great awkward feet, as if belonging to the pretty young woman, was incredibly ludicrous. The looker-on laughed and pointed out the joke to his neighbor. The looks and laughs spread until all the rest of the car were craning their necks to see the fun. At last the girl herself became conscious of the jest at her expense. With a look like thunder, she motioned to the conductor and hastily left them all. Brown wouldn't do. New York, March 21st. The young lady members of Ballington Booth's new army have been greatly excited over the announcement that the uniforms for God's American Volunteers would be a seal brown color. When the samples of cloth were first brought to the room in the Bible house devoted to the trade department of the new army, they were sharply examined by the women. Then there were whisperings, which grew louder and louder until finally it broke out into open revolt. The fair soldiers admitted that they had one worldly weakness left, and that was when they were asked to don a color so unbecoming. They were joined by the men who said brown trousers would be more quickly ruined by kneeling in the streets than those of blue. After much deliberation, Commander Booth rescinded the order for the brown cloth, and his aides are now looking for a suitable cloth of a cadet color blue. C.W. Judd, Headquarters for Photo and Materials. For amateurs and professionals. Free darkroom, Eastern prices. Developing and finishing. Telephone, Black 151. Taffy pulling party. Buy a can of Tea Garden Drips and give the children an old-fashioned candy pulling. Tea Garden Drips is also the finest and purest of all table syrup. All grocers keep it. Will begin on G.G. Garrettson's $7,000 house on Golden Hill on Monday morning. The house will be built on E and 24th Streets and will be a credit to the city. The monitor, Modadnock, finished coaling yesterday afternoon, and today the work of cleaning and painting the ship was finished. She now looks as clean as a new looking-glass. Tomorrow the ship will be open to the public from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and this will be the first opportunity given to any public to inspect the Modadnock, as she was not open to the public in San Francisco. Most of the officers and men now on the Modadnock were formerly attached to the battleship Texas, located on the Atlantic coast. Since the Modadnock has been in commission, the men have not been granted shore leave, but it is expected that they will be allowed to come ashore next week. You try saying that word. It's not easy. A distant diagnosis. Here is a strange story about a pump and a phonograph, a combination that will strike you as being altogether out of the common run of story making. And when you have read what follows, you will say that is altogether out of the common run of storytelling. A New York firm put up a large pump for a water company out in California several years ago. It has been consistent ever since and done its work faithfully. Well, until lately. Something got out of order about it a few weeks ago, and while it continued to work, its action was not at all satisfactory. The owner did not want to take apart the pump, so he had an idea. All at once an inspiration came. He would call in the services of a phonograph. If a physician could determine what was the matter with a man's heart by listening to its action through a stethoscope, why might the pump doctor not diagnose the disease by listening to its throbs and pulsations by means of the phonograph? Acting upon this novel idea, the manager got a phonograph and spoke into the receiver, describing all the pump's symptoms as clearly as he was able. Then he placed the receiver so that the pulsations of the pump would be recorded on the waxen roll. The roll was sent in to the firm in New York, and when they had heard its story reproduced by phonograph there, they at once discovered where the defect in the pump's action was and suggested the remedy. The result is that the pump is now running as satisfactory as when it was brand new. Saved by a bass viol. Returning home from an all-night dance near Gladwin, two Manayunk musicians had quite an adventure with an infuriated bull in a field in which they crossed as a shortcut to the highway. The owner of the bass viol pulled the covering from the instrument quickly and began to pull the bow over the strings with a vengeance, hoping to charm the bull, which stood with head lowered, bellowing angrily and pawing up the turf with his forefeet. The first violin left his comrade to his fate and made tracks for the nearest fence. He had hardly arrived at the fence in safety when he saw his unlucky friend tossed into the air. The bass viol was impaled upon the brute's horns. While the bull was engaged in battering the fiddle to atoms, the man escaped with only a few bruises. Southern California Railway, Santa Fe route. Trains leave and arrive at San Diego Station.
Porter, mister? You sitting around down here all the time.
Yeah, boy, I'm just watching the trains come in. watching the trains go out. And after I've watched all the trains come in, I watch all the trains go out. And watching the sweethearts kiss, seeing them come and go, I get a burning yearning just to shuffle right off to Buffalo.
Let him ride the old caboose
Away back where the cruise sits,
all the way to sunny Iowa,
to Massachusetts, watching the trains come in and watching the trains go out. What do I do when the trains come in? Well, I watch all the trains go out. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Watching the trains come in and watching the trains go out. And what do I do when the trains come in? Well, I watch all the trains go out. And there goes old 97 around that bend.
Yeah, but don't worry, she'll be back again.
I'll be right here to watch her come in.